Worried about the future of wireless? Avoid all those UHF headaches with Sabine's 2.4 GHz Smart Spectrum wireless microphone systems. 70 simultaneous channels, all good worldwide and all immune to TV interference. Sabine Wireless, the only wireless mic with a future. Bosch Communications Systems, a business unit of Bosch Security Systems, is now one of the world's leading manufacturers and suppliers of professional audio, wireless, life safety, and communication equipment. Bosch Communications Systems offers complete system solutions for the world's most critical high-profile installations and events. Together, the future sounds secure.
Welcome back. You're watching Sound and Communications Viewpoint. I'm Mark Fritz, and with me is Chris Lyons, who is representing the Microphone Industry Coalition, as we continue our discussion on the white spaces issue and the effect it's going to have on wireless microphone users. Chris, before we left for break, we were talking a little bit about the new technology and things that are emerging. We touched a little bit on both infrared and additional wireless technologies. And we talked about how to get the word out to some of the end users and the clients. One thing that was brought up, you mentioned trade shows. We see a lot of industry-based, house of worship, education. Are the manufacturers prepared to provide materials to their dealers to help support and bring this issue to the forefront?
Most manufacturers are. Most wireless mic manufacturers are taking a very active role in not only working with the FCC, but working on product development and working with their customers. And I think the industry is developing messages that will help integrators present this situation to their customers in a way that lets them know that nobody's done anything wrong here. This is a new development in the regulatory space that affects everybody equally. There's no one manufacturer who's got a magic bullet that solves all the problems here.
What about the FCC? Does it seem like the FCC is being more open to discussions on this? It seemed like earlier that with all the DTV issues and things like that, this kind of became a hidden problem. Is that starting to come to the front?
Well, they've certainly had their plate full for a long time, but I think when they started the first phase of testing last summer of the white space devices and the interference protection measures that they wanted to put in place, I think that's when they started to realize how tricky this issue really would be as far as detecting all the different users of the television band already. And now they're spending a lot more time and testing and consideration on how to make this work properly.
Not to point fingers, but it's my understanding that those initial rounds of tests failed, that the devices could not function as the FCC is mandating. Do we really think that we're going to be able to get there? Is the gut feeling that this technology will emerge where we can all coexist peacefully and interference issues will be kept to a minimum?
Well, there's so much incentive for the end benefit of all this, which is greater access to broadband internet service for the entire country, and that's a very big issue in Congress. They want more access to the internet for people. That's going to motivate them to get through all these technological hurdles and make this work, whether it takes 6 months or whether it takes 6 years. Like any other technology, in the beginning it looks rudimentary and it seems like, oh, that's never going to work. But with continual refinement, software, hardware improvements along the way, I think it can be done.
Do we see, the future, the FCC looking at other bands that may go up for auction and reducing the spectrum even further? Are we prepared to deal with that type of issue? And if so, what might be some of our options?
Well, I don't know of any other large chunks of spectrum that are come up for auction. This DTV transition, as somebody said, is the largest single block of spectrum that's changed hands in the last probably 40 years or so. So this is one of the biggest instances we've seen in a long, long time of reshuffling the spectrum. And the FCC has to manage so many different kinds of users, from satellite operators to military radar to household appliances and everything in between, that all are sharing the spectrum in many cases, that it really is difficult for them to make any sort of large-scale changes. In this case, the DTV transition gave them sort of a blank slate in a large chunk of spectrum and say, now that we've got a big piece of vacant real estate, let's do something with it.
Chris, here we are, less than a year away from the proposed changeover date from analog to digital television. If for some reason this were to get pushed back again, what type of impact will this have on the wireless microphone industry?
Well, it would certainly give all the manufacturers and users more time to adjust and change technology or change frequencies if that proves to be necessary. But the DTV transition has been delayed several times in the last 5 years or so, and the FCC is under intense pressure from Congress and the industry to move it forward, to roll out digital television and get it done, and also to reclaim the use of that spectrum and start collecting money from the people that want to buy it with the auctions. So I think it's unlikely that the DTV transition will get rolled back. What might get pushed back is the date when they can bring the new unlicensed devices into the white spaces. If the FCC decides that the technology still isn't quite working right yet, or that they haven't fully proven it, they could easily say, okay, let's save that for 2010 or 2011 or even beyond.
And that'll be a big benefit if that were to happen. That would obviously benefit the users, the houses of worship, and,
Right.
and schools and things that use wireless mics.
Right.
Looking at that, though, if it were to push back, and for a while there, wouldn't there be a potential for more interference because you would have co-broadcasting of stations, both on analog and digital?
Well, we've got analog and digital stations on the air right now, and the FCC went through great pains to make sure that none of those stations interfered with each other. I actually think that after the DTV transition, things are going to get better rather than worse, because you're going to have only half as many TV channels on the air as you do right now, which means in a lot of crowded RF congested cities in the country, there's suddenly going to be more spectrum available overnight for wireless microphone users. And then at some point in the future, when the unlicensed devices start to come into those white spaces, that may change the picture a little bit, but by then the interference protection technology should be proven.
Okay, well, we're pretty much out of time. I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Sound and Communications Viewpoint. I'm Mark Fritz. This is Chris Lyons. Once again, we would like to encourage you to be sure to watch your email inboxes and things like that to see the upcoming April segment. Until then, thank you. And once again, thanks for watching Viewpoint.
Thank you.